Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew. I'm a junior studying computer science at Stanford University, and today I'm going to be your section leader. So let's dive in. Today, we're going to be talking all about functions. Functions are the lifeblood of any code. And whenever I think about functions, the first thing I think about is toasters. Toasters are a perfect analogy. We give a toaster input, bread. It goes through some kind of process, which is the heat, and we get some kind of output, which is toast. When it comes to functions, we give functions input, which are our parameters. It goes through a process, which we call the function code. And finally, we get an output, which is what we call a return statement. For today, the problem we're going to be focusing on is one called make greeting. The idea is think about any time you've ever logged into a website and in one of the top corners you see, "Hello, Andrew," as a kind of greeting to know that you're logged in. The idea with this function is the input we're going to give you is the first and last name of a particular user, and the output you're going to provide is a nice greeting like, "Hello, Andrew." So let me share the code that we're going to be working over. Now, at first, when we see this, it might look like there's a lot to take in. So we're going to kind of break it down line by line. The first line of this function is the most important. We see this special keyword, which is called def. What def tells us is that what's about to follow is the definition of a function. Remember, a function is just something that takes an input and provides output. The name of the function is the next part that always follows. In this case, we can see it's highlighted in blue, make greeting. What follows after the name of the function are the inputs that we're going to provide. Like I said, we want to be able to pass in the first and the last name of a user and provide an output, which is the greeting from that. So in the parentheses, we specify the first parameter, the first input that I want to be passed in is the first name of the user. The second input that I want to be passed in is the last name of the user. Now, the names that we choose here are special. These are what we call parameters, and they act as variables that we can use later on in the function. What follows next is a series of words written in triple quotes. Whenever you see three quotes like this, demarking a section, that means that everything inside of there is a comment. It's something that can be ignored if you want, but it usually provides some helpful tips about what we need to do. In particular, this function comment describes exactly what we want our function to do. We should take in two strings, the first and the last name, and produce an output that looks like this. Hello, comma, first name, last name. So if we were to write this particular line of function, where we say make greeting with the first name Carol and the last name the robot, we would expect it to return hello, Carol the robot. Okay, so let's dive in. Whenever I'm writing a function like this where I want to take something and transform it, I usually like to save the initial result in some kind of variable. So I'm going to say that the greeting we're making is a variable that we're going to create. So we know that no matter what, we always want the function to start with the word hello. Cool. After that, we want to say the first name of the user. Well, how do we know what the first name of the user is? Is it Carol? Should we write Carol here? Well, no, because if I were using this function, I would want it to say hello Andrew, not hello Carol. So instead, what we should be doing is using the input variable that the user provides to me. In particular here, we know that the first name value is stored in the variable called first name. So instead of saying hello plus Carol, I'm going to write hello plus first name. And then we know that there's a space between the first and last name. And then the same thing again. We need to put the last name, in this case, the robot. But we don't know that the last name is always going to be the robot. So we can't write the robot there. No, instead we should be using the input parameter that we're passed, last name. And finally, we're going to round it out with a nice exclamation point. Here is the final bit of this function, is we need to give this value back to the person who wanted it. So if I'm the website and I'm saying, hey, I need to give my greeting to my user, I need to tell Carol that I really want to welcome her. Well, what I need to do is I need to pass that information back. And the way we give the output, the way we give the toast back, is we write something called a return statement. So we write return and then the value we want to return. In this case, we want to give the greeting back. So we're going to say we're going to return the greeting. All right, that's all the time I have for today. I will see you all later.